Hi, I'm Trina Puttyfoot, Program Director for Early Steps, and I want to talk to you today about what's been happening with the TPA and CMS Kids computer system. I want to explain to you what's gone on since November the 1st, since our go-live date, and why the TPA implementation is taking so long. I'm also going to try and explain what the next steps are to help this system become as useful as it can for all of us. So let's start with what happened beginning November 1st. November 1st was our go-live date, and unfortunately when we all logged in for the first time we found that service coordinators weren't loaded. Most of the providers weren't loaded in the system. Most of the kids were already in there, but we do have some called gap kids, and what happened was they took the initial load on October the 11th and uploaded those ready for November 1st. So any children joining our program between October 11th and October 31st were not loaded initially. They did get loaded last week, so we do have them in the system. We're still waiting for our FSPSAs, or what we call our service authorizations, to be loaded, the G-page information. We're still working on entering billing information, insurances, Medicaid. Most of those did not load into the new system, so we are having to do that by hand. And anytime there is IFSPs that need to be updated or IFSP information, we have to do that by hand as well. And across both programs we have about 1,400 kids, so it's taking us longer than we thought. And our staff and service coordinators are working really hard to try and get that in as quick as possible, but we are a bit delayed. We don't know why it's taking so long. I think it's just part of the process, and we're just, working out best we can, and we're really grateful and thankful to everyone for putting some extra time in and for the patience that you're showing. That's good, and the teamwork, helping each other out, is great. So what our next steps will be, when the FSPSA service authorizations get loaded, they will be loaded onto the G pages for the children we already have. The service coordinators and other staff, as able, will be printing those G pages to send to the staff and external providers. The staff learn to use one billing system, and the external providers have to use a different billing system. And you're going to need what's called the MMI number, so that you can find the child in the external billing system. Staff have the option of using the name or the number. External providers will need this number, and that will print out on the G page when we get those for you. So that will be our first step, is to, as soon as those go in, we'll check they're correct and send copies of the G pages to all of the providers, internal and external. We're also going to continue to enter the data. Currently we have service coordinators, direct service staff, fiscal, administration, everyone. I'm entering things every day as well. We're all pulling together to get this information entered as quick as possible. We're trying to become accustomed to how it works. There are actually 3 systems. There's what we call Facets ED, which is eligibility determination. That's where the IFSP is being entered. All IFSPs have to be entered by hand. There's no way to upload them. We then have a system called PM, Provider Management. That's where the staff do their billing. We then have a system called Business Objects, where we run reports like caseloads, things like that. We also have a system called e-InfoSource, which contracted providers will use to check on billing, and then they will use existing portals like Availity or MDON to do the billing with. So we all need to become accustomed to data entries and the fields and where it goes, and we're working on that as hard as we can too. Staff are going to have to learn a different billing system as well as a different data system and reporting system. And providers are going to have to learn a new billing system, including how to use the paper CMS 1500 forms. But so far, it's going as smoothly as we can be expected, with the upsets and delays with the providers and service coordinators being billed. Not being billed because they're not in the system. And we'd just like to thank you all for being team players and really working with us. We don't have a choice about this, This is something that we have to do, and I think we're handling it very well, respectfully, and really putting our effort into trying to get the whole system up and running. And I appreciate that from all of you. If you have any questions about where we go next, or what the next steps are, you can give me a call, or speak to your local office or your team leader. Just ask. Ask any questions. No question is a stupid question. Just ask away, and we're still figuring it out, so we're figuring it out together. So thanks for listening, and I'll give you an update as soon as we have one. Thanks.